we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado, this is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
You're an entrepreneur and you do like event organizing, like coordinating for events. Is that correct?
Yeah. So like event and wedding planning, essentially. Yeah. So like the idea is that I'm getting to know the couple as soon as they get engaged, and then we are planning their entire wedding from A to Z within 1 to 2 years. So we build a very, very solid relationship through that time.
Yeah, I was about to say you're in the relationship business, definitely.
Yeah,
like not hooking people up, but building relationships with people.
Yeah, I mean that's like the biggest reason why I do what I do is like I just love people and I love relationships and I love learning about people and like their beliefs and their culture and like what's important to them and how they want to like, you know, like portray their story. And I want to be able to find ways to make that happen. And like planning a wedding can be like one of the most stressful times for people because there's just so much unknown. And if you like have never done it before, like there's so many little details that are so like you just don't know, like if you've never done it before. And so for me to have that knowledge base and be able to really help people to like kind of like sift through all that and like navigate it, like that to me is just like the most fulfilling thing. So
what's the biggest little detail, like the littlest thing that is like it's big?
So like this is silly, but like a lot of people, like who's gonna set the tables, like who's gonna set the dinnerware and the glasses and the plates and the napkins, like a lot of like caterers should be doing that, but like some caterers just don't typically include that. But like I feel like that's just an obvious thing, but that's something where I have to like remind my clients and the caterers like that's a thing that needs to happen, because if it's not done, then it just doesn't look like a pulled together event. So that's just like one little piece of detail. But yeah,
peeling back the layers, there's a lot to it, of course. And I want to make sure we get this on air before we dive too deep. Again, this is the second Batstone to ever be on Discussion Combustion.
No, I would say the first, because well, obviously you're on here, but no, as a guest, because you're not
first. Okay,
guest.
He's right.
Yeah.
The first Batstone guest, my cousin Erica, coming to us from Asheville, North Carolina. Super stoked to have you here. You've done so many epic things. I've been watching you on social media for years, traveling the world, doing epic stuff. I'm super pumped for, your business that you got going. We're going to dive into that, of course, but more importantly, I'm just excited to see you. It's been a while.
I know it's been so long. I was thinking about it. I think the last time we saw each other was Christmas 2015, I think. Yep.
Wow. Good memory.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember coming over. It was such a special time. Yeah.
Yeah. Almost 7 years ago. I mean, it's just crazy where time goes. And, it's, I feel fortunate to be doing the podcast because it does give me the opportunity to connect with, a lot of different people, but I mean, just even having you on here, being able to reach out, reconnect, promote your business and all that stuff. I think it's fantastic. So thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for reaching out. I was really honored when you reached out. Cause at first I was like, wait, why would they want me on there? Like, I don't know. But then I was like, oh, well, no, let's do it. So I appreciate
you hustle, you grind, like you're getting after it. That's what we really like to put an emphasis on, that because like we all know life isn't always easy. And a lot of times you really have to like pull yourself up and get the gusto going to like, and like believe in yourself even when you don't. And any entrepreneur that's out there, like really working and working hard, like you're overcoming things every single day. And I just think it's so cool to rub shoulders with people that are doing something that, fills up their tank, makes them feel alive and happy. And it sounds like you're doing that. What's the name of your event organization company, your wedding organization company?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that. I think it's, what you said was just like, it's a constant, like daily, grind and like keeping yourself self-motivated when you don't have a team to like motivate you, right? To keep hustling and doing this thing. But my company is called Rising Fern Events. And so the way that I got that name was, I think it's important because it's like such a random name, but basically, so I backpacked and lived in New Zealand for a year. And so the national plant there is the fern, the silver fern specifically. It's kind of a large, almost like tree-like fern. And I just really connected with the ferns there, and the Māori culture, which is the indigenous culture there. They believe that the fern symbolizes like new beginnings or new chapters, kind of the opening of something new. And so for me, that really resonated when I would go on hikes there and just kind of be amongst nature. And so for me, the idea of a rising fern, when I think about like relationships of like individuals as themselves, but also as like a couple, like that new beginning, that new chapter of a relationship, like that really settled well with my soul. So that's kind of where that name came from. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, that is cool. I didn't know the backstory behind that, so that's cool to hear that. And diving into that a little bit, when did you decide? Because like we talked about before we went on the air, you lived in Boulder, you've lived in New Zealand. I mean, you were constantly on the move.
Nicknamed Erica from America.
Yeah. So how did you know that?
We do research, Erica. We have to research our guests.
What? I don't know how you found that out. Okay. Yes, that's how I introduce myself to people internationally. It's like that's how people remember me internationally. Like it works every time. Yeah.
I love it. That's it rolls off the tongue good. It kind of symbolizes you, and it makes sense why that would work internationally. So Erica from America, of course. You settle in Asheville, which I really want to get down there. I'd love to come down there, hang out with you. But please. What kind of sparked your interest and desire to start the Rising Fern Company and get the wheels moving?
Oh man. So I've been in the event industry for like 11 years now, and I've kind of done all different aspects of it. From like, I was actually, when I lived in Boulder, I was a catering coordinator for a year and a half and loved that, and did some weddings and different, corporate social events. And I've worked as a coordinator at a specific venue before. I've done venue consulting. I've worked at a resort in actually Wolfboro, in between travels, doing work there as a captain. And so, through those experiences and through just seeing how much fun and impactful events can be, like I just really adopted this like love for events and just like really creating these like memorable experiences for people. And, my sun signs is Taurus. And so that comes with a lot of drive and also like loving the senses. And I think events they can just touch on all the different senses. And so that really adds to the experience for people. And so, yeah, before I started my business, I was working at this venue as like a month up coordinator. And I really wanted to be a full planner, because the difference between that is a month up coordinator is like someone who, like the couple's really comfortable with planning their whole wedding, but they just need someone to like tie everything together at the very end, and then like just be there the day of to like make sure everything's going well and like handle any problems that come up. But I wanted to be someone who really started with the couple like a year or two out, and like built that relationship from the beginning of their engagement, and like just like was their right-hand person and their guide through the whole process of planning the entire wedding. And so, the company I was working for, the venue, they didn't want to kind of go in that direction, even though I presented that idea to them. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to start my own thing. And I actually told the company, the venue, that I was leaving like literally 1 week before COVID started. And I was just like, okay, well, this is life. And so it was kind of uncomfortable.
That's the best way to start, is like on a challenge, right? Like, right out the gate.
Right. Like, oh, this is bad timing. But like at the same time, there was a lot of silver lining in it. And so I launched Rising Fern in May 2020. And yeah, I just was ready to be my own boss and like have that freedom of creativity. And like one of my mantras is just like being able to have the flexibility and freedom to live a life that I want to live. And like being a traveler and being someone who has a lot of goals and drive and wants to be, adventuring all over the place, like having your business. I mean, recently I feel like my whole focus has been the business, and I haven't been able to travel a lot because of COVID too. But eventually I feel like I'll get to a place where I have a little more balance in that. But like, it's just like the idea of like not having to ask my boss for like a 2-week vacation is so liberating for me. Like, like I can just figure that out and like take the time off and like communicate it. And like, I can create my day to be any way that I want it. Like, obviously I'm there for my clients and I perform in a way that still makes them feel very supported and taken care of, but I can just create.
You can do it how you want to.
It's just like, if I don't feel good one day, like I can take a rest day. Like, there is so much liberation and freedom in that. And I am so grateful that like for years I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and it always just felt really scary. But like I had, of course, a ton of self-doubt to start out, but like now I'm just like so proud of myself. I'm so confident when I'm doing, like, it gets more like stronger every day. And I'm like just ready. Like I have
so you're coming up on
goals.
2 years.
Yeah.
Almost
Yeah.
2 years. That's exciting.
I know, it's so cool. Yeah, I'm so grateful. And like, it actually took off way, way quicker and like bigger than I thought it would. And so I'm just like sitting here just feeling really like a ton of gratitude every day of just like where I'm at and how it's developed. So super
That's
pumped.
terrific. Yeah, I'm super happy for it. I mean, that's, you're checking the boxes of the American dream, right? I mean, one of my biggest goals in life is to control my time and money. And we're going to do that here at Discussion Combustion Productions, of course. But it takes that constant effort every day of getting up, doing what you love, and building this thing from the ground up. And you did it at a time where, the world grinded to a halt and we didn't know what was going to happen next. So, to come through the fire and the brimstone when the smoke cleared and the dust settled, you're crushing it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's
absolutely
it's good. It feels really good.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point if it's easy, right? Like, that's the easy way is always going to be attractive because like, who doesn't want to take the easy way from time to time? Like, but that's not where you're going to like learn anything. That's not where you're going to actually feel fulfilled. Like you're never actually going to feel like you lived if you're not challenging yourself and taking those risks, because when you take those risks, you're like you said, you're second guessing, is this going to work? Am I going to be able to, and you have to overcome that doubt. But like, it builds this armor over time of like resilience and willingness to face adversity head on. And there's just so many things there that are epic. And I'm playing with some camera views here. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
We're still dialing in the rolling after all this time and trying new things.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it fun.
And right, exactly. There you go. Exactly right. You gotta like, experiment. Like that's the whole thing about your business, podcast, whatever, like you're doing. Like what I've learned is like a lot of it's like experimentation, like just like figuring like, because like I feel like you can ask people like who have been there before you, like, well, what works best? But like for me, yeah. I'm more about like, I'm just gonna put myself into it and then I'm gonna learn along the way and like, expect like one thing, something that people like feel comfortable talking about, but I don't, but like pricing, right? Like how much do you charge as a planner? Well, I started low and then like, as you get more confident and like, you're like, okay, well, I can go up a little bit. And you kind of like, you kind of play with it. You're like, okay, what feels good? What's worth my time? Like, how much do I want for this commitment? And yeah, like, and that's like with anything, it's part of a business or endeavor, whatever. Like, yeah, it's just experimenting and like figuring out like what feels good for you. And yeah, I mean, gosh, what is life without risk? Like life is meant to be lived fully. And if you're playing it safe, like I challenge you to choose something to like fully go after in the next month that like really brings you joy. Like what is the thing that like lights your soul that you're just like, oh, I wish I want that. Like just fucking do it. Just go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
You've been thinking about that?
Lose.
Yeah.
What is the worst case scenario? There is like,
It's so true, Erica. We talk about it so much on this show about, complacency. And, Arthur and I went shooting last night. And one of the comments I made to him was, the two biggest changes I've made in my adult life was leaving a company that I was with for 13 years, getting out of that complacent mindset because I was unhappy, right? I didn't want to just do it and check the boxes because I was used to it and just getting out of bed and going to that routine. And then the second biggest thing was starting this business, right? Taking these big risks in life is so rewarding, like exactly like what you just described, that why wouldn't we want to chase it? We have to get out of that complacent mindset. And it's difficult to do, especially after what we just came out of 2 years of e-commerce and, sitting in the house and all this other nonsense. It's hard to get motivated and to want to do those things, but now's the time, and it's never too late to start. Right.
Yeah.
And like,
get
that's the thing. It's
comfortable
like, if
being
any,
uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And like if this pandemic has taught us anything, it should be that life is very short and can change in a dime. So like you might as well friggin' go for it because what else is there? Like like
send it.
You know what I mean? Like
and it's so fun. Like when you take the risks and like you put yourself into a situation that wouldn't have just happened, like you kind of created it, but then something coincidental happens or it's a serendipity moment. And then all of a sudden, like there's this synchronicity behind just having faith and effort. And once you get comfortable, like being uncomfortable, like I was kind of saying, then synchronicity, like life starts to, give you low hanging fruit all of a sudden. And you're just like, like the hard work pays off. And that's the thing is like, because I'll work my ass to the bone, and like some of my peer group doesn't understand it. And I'm just like, you don't have to understand my work ethic, but you understand I'm working regardless, because like I'm out here getting it. Like I've wasted too much time. Like I wasted over like a good, over 12 years just having the wrong priorities. And, I'm still trying to catch up from that. And it does go by quick. Like 12 years can go by real quick. And you'd be surprised how much problems you can accumulate by not paying attention to things. And then those problems get really big. And you don't, and then you're like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to, and then it keeps getting bigger. But then you'd be surprised, like once you start being on top of things and you get it done and you're dialed in, like how much better that feels than dreading getting these things done. So it's really just what kind of mentality, how do you want to live? And that's a question that you kind of presented that we should ask the listeners, like, how do you want to live? Like, have you even thought about that? Like, what's your why sort of thing?
Yeah. Like take a moment. Like my advice is like, go book an Airbnb cabin in the woods for like 3 days by yourself and take a journal, take, whatever things that make you happy. I don't know if you like tarot cards or like, any sort of those things, like just bring, just really sit with yourself and like figure out what are those, like even 3 things that like really spark that joy, and like just dream in a way that where there's no limitations, and like see what speaks to you. Because to me, when you start going after those things that make your soul light on fire, then the universe is only going to support that and only going to move you and give you opportunities in your path to really bloom this dream out and make it possible, even if it's a little bit rocky. But like it's still like, I don't know, I just believe that like if you follow that path and like what you're meant to do and like what really lights you up, then like it's gonna work out.
Emphasize on the rocky. Like
Yeah.
the promised land has rocks in it too.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like
so
all
you got to
cruisy.
take some bruises.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take the rainy days with the sunny days. But I liked how you worded that there. It's true, because the universe does kind of synchronize with, you get out what you put in. I feel like, at the end of the day, where focus goes, energy flows. I know I've said that a few times on the show, but I truly believe that, because
100%.
and that can work negatively too. If you're focusing nothing but on the negatives, then that's all you're going to see, right? But if we can take these little victories and we can build on these and take these risks, that's what I've learned. And it took me a while to get there, Erica. My 20s, I was still angry and figuring shit out, and that's life, right? We live and learn. So
I met this wild man when he was
I was a wild little
19 years old, and Kevin, you've grown so much. It's
I was a wild angry man, Erica. I was. When I came to Colorado, I had like this weird chip on my shoulder. I don't know. It took some time to work through, and
I feel like, because I had worked with animals and dogs a lot. Like when I first met Kevin, he was that upset animal that like had love within him, and I just need to show him a little love. And
love. Aw, I wish I could give you a hug. There's a little version for you.
I like that. That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah.
That's, and we all kind of walk a different path. And, you did a lot of traveling, which is tremendous. I mean, you traveled the world, went to some amazing places. You said you lived in New Zealand for a while. That's a place that's kind of on the top of my list of where I would like to travel to, explore, see what's going on. That just seems so fun.
And you did that alone?
Yeah. So in 2012, I just kind of had, I call it a paradigm shift. Usually happens when you're like 25, 26. And I was 26, and I just kind of had this feeling. I was living in Asheville at the time, actually. And I just was like, I need to go. I need to travel. And so I remember my friend asking me, like, what is the one place you want to go? Just off the top of your head, what comes up? And it was New Zealand. And so 3 months later, I was on a plane. And I went there solo. I knew someone living there, like an acquaintance. So I like kind of hooked up with them, when I got there. But then after spending like a month or so in Auckland where they were, I was like, I can't do the city. I'm not really a city person, as you probably could figure, Kevin. But so I went to the country on South Island in Kaitiri and lived there for a little bit. And then, I bought a car and just like traveled around. I lived there for about a year.
What kind of car was it?
It was like a Honda Accord. I
Oh,
believe.
solid ride.
Yeah, it was
I
so
sold Hondas
solid.
for 3 years. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Like it was like
Good choice.
solid. I bought it for like a couple grand and it was like the best. It was like, and I literally made money when I sold it. So like,
Oh,
you know,
epic. See, yeah.
yeah,
Hondas,
like,
everybody. I don't know why I'm still selling this shit.
and
That's great.
I just want to say, like, if anyone's listening that's between the ages of 18 and 30, one of my missions in life is to like let people know that there are these things called holiday working visas or working holiday visas, and they are between America and Singapore, Australia, and New Zealand. And it allows people, again, between 18 and 30 to live in those countries for up to a year and work. So make money while they're there and travel. So I don't think a lot of Americans know about these opportunities. And I try to let people know because like it was such an epic time. And like again, like I was there were times where I was doing volunteer work or like work exchanges on like flower farms.
Well, you
or in
said paradigm
hospitals.
shift. Like that's a major, you use that word for a reason, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I was just like, I need to go do this. And yeah. And so I don't know. I just want people to know about these kind of opportunities because I don't think
I didn't know about that when I was 18 to 30.
I didn't know about it now.
like
Yeah.
I know. And that's what I mean. Like I'm like telling people, I'm like, you gotta do this thing. And so yeah, I mean, when I went to New Zealand, it was like a free visa. I got approved in like 6 days and I left in a few months from that. And then yeah, the rest is history. And then I did the same thing in Australia for about 9 months. And yeah, I basically just like would move around and work in different places and hospitality type jobs. Or
So how many years were you kind of abroad and working abroad and traveling?
yeah, it's kind of, so basically it was like a year in New Zealand, and then I came back to New Hampshire actually for like 8 months to kind of gain some income or some more finances. I actually worked at the Wolfboro Inn as like a captain there. And then I went
captain? What do you mean?
a captain
what
is
were you
like
the
someone
captain?
yeah, captain is someone who like basically manages events, so like weddings, social, corporate
Okay.
events. Like I was kind of like managing the day of operation of them. And then from there I went to Australia for 9 months, and then my brother got married in Vermont, so I had to cut it short, come home for the wedding. And then and then like my dream was to road trip from New Hampshire to Colorado, so I bought a 99 4Runner and road trip solo out there and like couch surf my way out there, which is like I don't know if you've heard of couch surfing, but it's like a free way to like have overnight accommodations with strangers that you've never met
Yeah,
before.
you're just more wild than I am, Erica. I
Mom,
can't do
yeah,
the
like,
couch surfing. I'll pay, I'll
like
stay in a Motel 6 at least.
I know, like I literally just like pull up to places and I'm like, this looks okay. All right. Hey, like
Yeah.
there are definitely
Well,
some
you didn't
like,
know these people? Wait.
no, never met him in my life, and just
Just
Just sleep on
literally
their couch.
You're
like
like, hi.
rolled up and was like,
What are you
hey.
talking about?
But
Yeah,
now like
I mean, I know Kevin's wild,
I try to
so
tell you, Erica's way more wild than I am.
yeah.
That's
So,
just taking
yeah.
risks though, and
No, it's
that
crazy. You just
yeah.
like sleep in these strangers' houses that you've never met before, and it
Did you
worked
get
out for
good?
me.
Did you get good sleep at least? Like, because
Yeah,
I don't know if I would.
sleep.
Yeah.
Great sleep. I don't
Okay.
know. I think it's just because I connected with them and they felt good. And if I didn't feel right, I mean, I have pretty good.
So how would that
intuition, so-
introduction go? Like, how would that go? Like,
I mean, like literally, I remember this couple, Andrea and Emily. Like, yeah, I remember it was in New York. Buffalo, New York was my first stop, and I remember just
Okay.
like it was in like the city. I remember parking on the street and being like, and like my car is full of all my belongings. And so I just rolled up and then knocked on the door, and they were like, yeah, cool, here's your room with a blow up mattress. And we like ended up like kicking it off, and we've been friends ever since. Like they've came to visit me in Boulder. We've
That's
like
cool.
they almost had me plan their wedding in New Jersey. They didn't actually do it, but they talked to me about it. So like,
So they didn't get married?
I haven't checked on them. I don't know if they've
Okay.
gotten married, but they were thinking about it, but they didn't know if they wanted to do like a big thing. So, and then this
Yeah.
other couple was in Indiana, and like I haven't talked to them since, but they were fine. And then I had a friend that I knew in Idaho. No, not Idaho. Des Moines, Iowa, and stayed with her. And then from there, I just drove straight to Colorado, which is like 13 hours, and then got to Fort Collins I knew a friend out there, so I stayed with them. And then after like a week and a half there, I got a job in Boulder as a catering coordinator for a really cool catering company. And then and then moved there and found a place to live. And that was challenging, but yeah, I found a place, and then yeah, it was great. I loved it. It was so fun. Got to visit all these different places out west, and then from there I ended up like meeting this guy. It's so weird. On Valentine's Day, like 2016, I'm at the New Belgium Brewery in Fort Collins, and I meet this guy on the tour, and he's actually lives in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He's like in the Army. So then we ended up like having this like long distance relationship, fell in love, and then I like moved back to friggin' North Carolina for him. Anyway, and then we were together, and then we
that didn't pan out, I take it. Okay, yeah.
And then I like moved back to Asheville, because I was like, okay, I need to like be in like a good place. So that's kind of how I came back to Asheville.
Epic.
Yeah, that's a great story. I mean, that had a lot of layers to unpack, of course. And so
Sorry.
I still have a question though. With this couch surfing, was this like a completely complimentary situation, or did you have to pay to stay in these strangers' houses?
So couch surfing is all complimentary. Like you can literally you make a
Really?
profile. Yeah, like they don't charge you a dime.
Wait, there's an app for this?
Yeah, there's a whole
Okay,
community.
get out of here. I thought this whole time you were just strolling up to these places like this neighborhood looks good. Like,
Can I sleep on your couch?
Hello, like hi. That's what I thought you were doing.
No. So yeah, couch surfing is literally like just a community of people that believe in like travel and believe in like complimentary accommodation because they want to meet other travelers. So so yeah, no, you can literally like just go find someone, and yeah.
So 18 to 30 work visas in other countries, and
couch surfing,
complimentary couch surfing.
Yes, we're learning all the things today, all the like life hacks.
Yeah, this is why we had you on, Erica.
You
I knew you were going to bring the juice.
Get the work visa, go to another place, and then use the app to couch surf.
Right. You can I think it's international. So yeah.
That's great.
I just don't know if I would roll the dice to do it. I would do it with somebody I know, but like a random couch, I don't know, Erica. I don't think I'd sleep that good. I mean, I'm already paranoid as some of my friends call me because, I carry a pistole, but that's another story.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I get it, man. I don't know if I would do it today. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm very trustworthy of people, but I think I was even more trustworthy back in the day.
Well,
yeah,
you're a good judge of character, though. I feel like too. I mean, you've experienced a lot, which helps you kind of develop that character judgment a little bit. But so are you saying you wouldn't do it now, or you would still kind of roll the dice?
No, I think
she would still do it.
I think I would. The thing is that you have to understand too, is like on each person's profile in couch surfing, there's like reviews and there's like a description of like where you sleep and like a little bit about the person. So like, it's not like a total, like when there's reviews, you can be like, okay, this person seems pretty legit, like
you got some information.
I wouldn't stay with
you're not going in blind.
Yeah, I wouldn't stay with like a 60-year-old dude who didn't have any reviews. You know what I'm saying? Like, like there's definitely like people out there that probably do it with like a weird intention, but like I think I can kind of suss those out.
Come on, all you weirdos out there that are being creepy, like just stop. All right, no one wants to deal with that shit. Like nobody wants to deal with it.
Well, just like be cool, man. Like just be fucking cool.
Just own it. Like if she's not into you, she's not into you. It's time to move forward, please. Yeah,
like
don't get hung up on that. That's beta behavior.
Yeah,
you don't want that.
No, don't try to put your hand on her knee. Like it's not gonna work.
I think I remember too, because when you were out here in 2015, my mother made that comment too. She's like, "You're crazy, Erica, for doing that. You're just." And my mother loves you. She watches every episode of the show, so she's really excited that you're on. Yeah, she's been really pumped to see you on here, and she's gonna be watching tomorrow, of course.
Hi, Vicky. Hi, John.
Yeah. They'll be watching. They're stoked you're on here, of course. I don't know where I was going with that, but I do remember Mom making that comment, like, your cousin Erica, she's a risk taker.
That's what it takes.
Is so supportive. She always comments such nice things on like all my business posts, so I appreciate her.
My mom's epic. I absolutely love her. One of the biggest supporters ever. I don't want to get emotional, but she she's great.
Yeah.
I love you too, Vicky. I mean, come on. Like it's all about the family. Like it really, I mean, and I'm just going to put it out there. Like, I'm so fortunate. Like both my parents have always been involved in my life. And but that's one of the things in life is like, there's always different challenges for different people, but we all have our own blessings too. Like, and there's always something to focus on that is good in your life. And you know, it's so easy to get wrapped up in all the negativity in society nowadays. And I feel like it's pulling us in, like it wants our attention and it wants us to be upset and distracted. And like, sure, it's all there, but if we can just find a way to be aware of that, but just push it off, like, whatever, I'm going to do me. Sure, there's problems, but like, why make my life problematic, or like, why overcomplicate my daily ritual because of all this other shit? And so you have to be selfish in a sense, I guess, is what I'm saying. It's good to be aware, but you still have to be like selfish enough to, like, you know, think about your own needs first. So then you're living your best life in this limited time that we have, you know, like we don't know, like, you know.
Yeah, like you want a level of compassion, but then you also need like a level of just like, well, this is the situation and I need to move forward for what's best for me. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're constantly being pulled in a couple different directions. You know, I feel like social media, you know, that's another thing we bash on here a lot, but
Maybe it's not a bash. Maybe it's just like a warning, warning.
Well, I don't know if it's a warning so much, but it's like I don't know. I just feel like social media has put this layer that we really weren't prepared for. You know, there's the instant gratification factor. You know, we have all the e-commerce services like we talked about, of course, which is instant gratification. But I feel like social media puts this fake filter on everything. And of course, we have to utilize it for businesses, for what we do at podcasting. Like there is a need for it. And I absolutely love what it does. But I also see the other side of it too. And we always call out the influencers. Like, let's not just show the good times. Let's also show some of the bad times. Like, we got to take the rainy days with the sunny days. And I feel like social media is always focused on the perfect, this, that, and the other. Life's great. Nothing's ever bad. And it puts this false narrative out there. And I think mental health is a big issue in this world. And I feel like social media has really impacted that. But, I beat up on social media all the time, but it is a big tool and resource.
Yeah, I know. I agree. And that's always sort of the challenge for me, is like, I think I always go back and forth on like, how much vulnerability do I want to put out there as a business owner? Because I feel like there's so much value in that. And like, whenever I like see someone posting like something super vulnerable about like mental health or like their struggles or emotions that are just super raw, like, I'm just like, yes, like, thank you. Like, you're giving us like validation that this is okay. It's okay to not be okay. And like, we are all struggling with something, and it's important to recognize that. And you're not the only one out there. But like, I do struggle with like doing it myself. I don't know if that's going to happen for me one day, but it is something that I value in other people that do it and that really put themselves out there, because I think it's important to see that, like, to just realize that, yeah, social media is just a bunch of BS when it comes to like the like reality of like where people are actually at.
I mean, all the filters, like these faces aren't even real.
Oh my
like,
gosh, I know, that's
ridiculous.
Like the worst, especially as like a female. Like, there's so much pressure to like look a certain way and be a certain way, and then to like see all this, you're just like, what the heck? I mean, I'm definitely guilty of using some of those filters, because it's like, oh, they'll put makeup on my face, I don't have to do makeup. But then it's just like, oh my gosh, this is so not like who I am,
Yeah.
But,
well, it's a slippery slope too, I feel like, especially with the filters like we talked about, and just that aspect alone of, the deep fakes, the filters, the way we can alter reality, so to speak, to make it look perfect to who? Who dictates what's perfect and what's good, what's bad? Oh, this doesn't meet the standards. I feel like that's the problem I have with it. Is there's this weird uncommunicated expectation with social media that people try to, live up to. I probably personally wouldn't be on it if it wasn't for the podcast. I mean, it's obviously very important what we do in promoting business, like I said, but a lot of the nonsense on there is what I struggle with, and kind of the, it
doesn't mean anything.
Right.
All the meaningless garbage. Cause it's like,
it is
you're scrolling and it's like,
I don't need to see your lunch. Right.
Yeah. Or like public freak out. Like, why am I watching these people argue with cashiers at a liquor store? Like, what am I gaining from that? But it draws you in. Like,
it pulls you in, and we're all guilty of it.
Yeah. We're all guilty.
We've all done it. I'm not going to sit here and say I've never done it. Of course I have. I watch the stories. I get pulled into the bullshit. You know, when I'm not on the air, I'm goofing off on my phone. So I'm not trying to sit here and say I'm not doing these things, but I think it's important to put it out there that this is a problem.
I agree. And like, I am the same. Like, I even like on a daily basis, I'm like, what? Like, how much time am I like putting into this? Like, I try to have those little like timers on my phone that let me only spend a certain amount of time. And I just like ignore, you know, like it's so ridiculous. It's so bad. Like, you know, I'm trying to just like use it as a tool and not consume it. But like, I've just failed at that miserably right now. Especially like, I don't know, for me, like, not to go too personal, but like, you know, being single and like living alone, like I feel like it sort of gives you this like feeling of like community and like interaction with people, even though it's like not super genuine. Like I still have like really great like social connections and like do things outside of, you know, social media in my house, but like it still just like gives you this like connection, even though it's like this veil of, you know, it's like not reality. Man, I wish I really, that's one thing that like is on my sort of bucket list of like self-improvement, is like learning how to limit that and just allow it to be more as a tool than consumption. Cause I just like, it just creates so much, I don't know. It just like, even just sets your day. Like sometimes I'll look at it like first thing in the morning and you're like, just think about the things that you're like filling in your mind the first thing in the morning, your comparison about this person, what they're doing, and like, oh, like you're thinking this, whatever is coming up, like it's just like affecting you immediately. It like sets the tone for the day. And to me, that's like really powerful. And that's one thing that I want
about that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't even think about that. Like they don't even think about how they're setting the tone of their day. Like they just let it happen, you know? And like, I feel like everybody, adults, children, you know, everybody deals with a bit of addiction to our phones. And you know, because it is cool, it's such a cool device, you know, it's touchscreen, it does all these things, like it's nifty, it's super awesome. Like I phones are cool as hell, and that's the thing, is like it's such a cool device that, like, you know, it really pulls you in. But something that you said earlier about, like, you know, being an entrepreneur, or you know, drive and spending time with yourself, like you said something along those lines of spending time with yourself. And I feel like that is so important to like really, you know, put down the social media, like, and sure, you can look at it, like we're all going to look at it, that's okay, but how much are you looking at it, and how well do you know yourself? Are you actually asking yourself, how am I starting off my day? Because like the fact that Erica, you're even there and thinking that's a progressive mindset. That's like, okay, how am I feeding my brain today? Like, how am I going to make this day the best day? And like, I feel like that's where a big drop off is most people don't think about that first step of, how am I actually feeding my brain today? You know?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, but yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, whatever we surround ourselves with, our old host, Jamie, we used to record this podcast in his basement, and he had a saying that I really enjoyed. It was, you know, he's from North Dakota, so it's got that hillbilly lick to it. And he would say, you know, if you hang around cows long enough and you rub up against cows long enough, you're going to smell like shit. And it's simple, but it's so true. And I guess I'm trying to apply that to, you know, what we're discussing here. You know, it's what you put your energy and your focus on, whether that's the scroll. You know, I've tried to get better at not looking at any of that when I first wake up. But it's you know, my cycle is, I wake up, I check my emails, I check my cryptocurrencies because I'm an investor. And then I check social media. What am I checking it for? Like, what is so important, right? Like, why am I so drawn to it? You know? So I tell the listeners all the time, but I'm guilty of it too. It pulls me in, you know?
Well, we talk about it because we battle with it. Yeah. And I've been battling with the whole social media thing, and like, what is this? Like, what does this even mean? Like, this is garbage. Like, I've been doing this for like probably 4 months every single day. And I'm like, I fight it every single day. And it takes time. And I feel like that's something important, like talking about how you started businesses and how you had all this adversity and stuff too. Like, anything that's important doesn't come easy. Like, so of course you're going to struggle a little bit. Of course you're going to fail a little bit, but like, that's part of it. Is failure is success. Like that, the whole line where it's like, you know, that they have like a line to success and it's a straight line, but that's wrong. The line to success is like all over the place. And then you finally get there. Like, you don't know how you're going to get it, but you're definitely not going to get it if you're spending all your time staring at your phone, comparing yourself to other people's lives, you know? So
yeah, for sure.
I'm not saying drop social media. Like it has so many useful, pieces to it, but like, let's control it and let's use it as a tool. Let's not let it control us.
Exactly. And that's the biggest like for me, that's like the biggest challenge in like figuring out how to really adapt that, because like for me, I mean, I've only paid $5 for advertising my entire business career.
Oh,
So,
wow.
And like a lot, I would say
Tremendous.
like, this is
Savvy.
amazing. Like a lot of it's word of mouth or like, vendor recommendations, venue recommendations, which is awesome. Google a little bit, but like, and then, I'd say like 25% of my inquiries come from Instagram, which is awesome, so it's definitely a tool, but it's like just learning how to not like get as like sucked into it as like the comparison thing or it's tricky. It's tricky. And like, you want to see like what's going on. Like today I feel like I shouldn't even admit this, but like I started watching these like videos about like slime produced like manufacturers.
From Nickelodeon?
Like, or no, it's just like people that are making these like interesting slime concoctions that are like for like stress relief. And like, I actually like, my love language is touch. And like, so I'm like, ooh, like I want to just like have this slime in my hands now, but it's just like the most crazy things that you find on there. You know what I mean? And like people just get crazy about it. But yeah.
they and the algorithms know how to cater, right? So
now
that you put that out there and those things that pull you in, it's amazing how they just keep pulling you in. There's going to be another one tomorrow and the next day that just draws your attention. It's crazy how they know. It's like adaptive learning. This AI is
I mean, it's listening. Like when we were talking last night, talking about like
my phone started
CDC
listening
and stuff, like all of a sudden his phone turns on.
we're
like
talking about the CDC. My phone just lights up, right?
Yeah. Like,
what's going on?
Get out of here.
Exactly. I mean, they're obviously, it's listening, but that's a whole other subject. But the other thing is that I think as a business owner, what's confused or what's frustrating is that the algorithm's always changing. So you don't really know, like, what effort am I putting into this or that that's actually going to have an impact to like reach more people, right? Like Instagram right now, it's reels. Like, gosh, those things take forever to make. Like, I don't even really do them because it's just like time consuming. But it's just interesting. Like, just they switch it up all the time. Yeah.
Well, whatever you're doing, Erica, is working because you said, circling back to the $5 that you spent on advertising. I don't even want to tell you what Art and I spent on advertising. I mean, we've seen results from it, right? But it's much more than $5. So the fact that you're doing that organically and, like you said, word of mouth and all that stuff is tremendous, and that is to be heavily respected.
That's true. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Because that shows that like your work ethic is on point. You're doing the right things for the right reasons, even if it's the hard thing to do. Because people notice that, like people pick up on that subconsciously. If you're really grinding, if you're really working hard, you're being honest with yourself, you're being honest about your own faults, and you're being real and not wasting your time, like people can feel that. And honestly, I feel like 99% of people want to support that and also share time with that type of energy.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're creating an empire down there. It seems like this rising Fern movement is much more epic than I even realized. I mean, I see what you're doing, but it's pretty badass. It sounds like.
I appreciate that. I mean, that's kind of like one of my goals is like, I've always just had this vision of like an empire, which is like, what is that? But I definitely want to, I like what I'm doing as a planner, but I also want to create like eventually like some educational aspects where I'm like coaching and educating people that want to be planners and like kind of having that aspect of it to really like inspire and motivate people to do what I'm doing. I see that happening in the next few years, hopefully.
Let me be your mentor.
Yeah.
I will teach you the ways of post-engagement planning.
Exactly. Exactly. So we'll see. Just I want to get my own experience and processes down pat first before I kind of expand into that. But I definitely see it growing. And I'm not really sure. Like I'm trying to like let it have its own like I'm not trying to like constrict it or like have too many expectations for the business. I'm just trying to let it organically form and mold into whatever it's going to be. Like,
so do you have a mission statement?
Oh, not really. I mean, my mission is just to like help people navigate a really stressful experience and like create it to be like a really fun and meaningful time and a really beautiful, day of, experience for them and their people. I mean, that's not really like a formal mission statement, but yeah, I guess I don't really have one, or like maybe I did, but I don't remember what it was. But yeah, it's just to help people and have a really good time doing it. And have it.
I think that's a pretty good mission statement.
I think that's a
and
great
I want
mission
them
statement.
to have a good time. Like it's not just about me. It's like I want them to enjoy the process. That's what's important to me, is that it's like enjoyable and not like super stressful or like, oh, I gotta do this thing now, So yeah, I love it. I love what I do. I feel like I connect really well with my clients and create really long lasting relationships, which is important to me. And yeah, it's good.
I'm happy to hear it.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, bringing good energy into the world is not like, because people start to get this expectation like, oh, you're always so positive, like you're so optimistic all the time, like, that's so cool. And then, but like, everybody is gonna have those slip ups and struggles and self-doubt moments, and there's almost like that pressure, like, like this is the person that I've built, like, and you got to maintain it. And whenever I listen to a lot of the stuff I say is not mine, but I listen to a lot of motivational speeches, and it's just interesting because it's like, you grind, like go hard, like they say all this stuff, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do push-ups right now, like, but then they say like once you get to the mountain, like you don't stop. And that's one of the biggest things that I've picked up from all this stuff and my own personal success. So yeah, I've seen my own personal successes in different areas, but like, you don't stop. Like you have to keep doing something new every day and like challenging yourself every day, or else then like everything you did stops there. So it's like this weird mentality of constant like growth, but that's expected. And I want challenge. And it's like to be in that mentality where you constantly want to challenge yourself. Like, it's almost like it's a challenge to even get to that place. Like, I'm going to challenge myself every day.
Yeah. But
then that life that you live. Yeah.
I think to respond to what you said, like, I think it's good to challenge yourself, but I also want to just like let people know that it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to not, produce in a day, or it's okay to rest. It's okay to have a day where you don't accomplish anything. Like, I think we have to have a lot of compassion for ourselves, especially as business owners and people that are doing it solo, to be like there's some days where I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like getting on my emails. I don't feel like doing this or that. I mean, sometimes I'll make myself do it, but it's like, there are definitely days where I'm just like, I don't know. I don't want to do this right now. Like, I'm not into it. And so I think it's okay to like,
that's also important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you have to treat yourself well. And that means having rest days too. Like, that's just as important as grinding. Like, you can't grind every day.
No.
Like, you have to have.
For sure. And I really actually dislike the word hustle. I feel like hustle, even though like sometimes I'll use it, like I used it before, but it's like, sometimes I think hustle makes you feel like you have to like, every day just like grind and push and produce and like create and like, make yourself exhausted. And it's like, I don't want to hustle. I want to cruise through this shit. Like, I want to fucking like do it fancy. Like, I want to like just like, I like the word cruise. Like, I like to be cruisy. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask, like, what did you replace it with? Cruise. I'm cruising.
Cruisy. I like things cruisy. Like, they're cruising. You know what I mean? Like, we're figuring out. Like I give my couples the analogy when I talk about my different packages. When I talk about like full planning, I'm like, all right, we're on a road trip, and I'm the driver. You guys are sitting in the bucket seats next to me in the truck. I'm in control. We're driving, but you're still there. We're still hanging out. Like, I'm still asking for your input, but like, we're cruising, we're figuring it out. But yeah, I think it's just important. Yeah. To stay hungry and determined, but like, burnout is such a big thing, especially as an entrepreneur. And I think it's so easy to get there. And so for me, it's just been really important to like acknowledge that, because I've been such an overachiever, like my entire life, like straight A student, like honor society, like all the activities, all the sports, MVPs on tennis teams, like dance competitions, like all these things my whole life. And I was always just pushing and like moving myself in all these directions, and it was great, but it like, I would burn out real quick, like several times in my childhood and adult life. And now I'm just like, man, I don't want to do that. Like, that's not what I'm here for, like, there's gotta be a way to like balance it more, to like, yeah, like now as a business owner, especially, like I can really control like, how many clients am I taking right now? Like, what feels right for me? And that's still an experimental stage right now, to like see like what it feels really good, like the numbers, how many people I'm taking on. But I don't know. I just think it's like we were saying, like, life's an experiment. You just have to like figure out, like, make mistakes, trip a little bit here and there, and like figure out what and it ends up working best for you.
Absolutely. You got to roll the dice sometimes and see what works, see what doesn't work. You find out what you want by finding out what you don't want and all those kind of things. And, circling back to what I said earlier about controlling time and money, I feel like that's kind of the key point to being a business owner, entrepreneur, what have you. It really, for me, it circles back to that because, I still work for a corporate environment on my day job, to pay the bills, of course, but the mission is to control my own time and money, and that's, I just feel like that's the true American dream, is to be able to control your time and money. And that's exactly what you just described. Some days you might wake up and go, I don't want to deal with these emails right now. And maybe you don't have to, you're in control of your time and money. I feel like that's where we need to be.
Yeah, that's the dream, right? That's like, yeah, for sure. But like, it's hard too, though, as a business owner, because you're like, okay, I know I could like say I don't want to do these emails today, but then you're like, but I want to give my clients.
Then you're
really
thinking about
experience.
them for hours too.
Yeah.
And then you're thinking about how you didn't send the email. And then you end up thinking about that for hours. It would have taken 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the worst place to be. I'm like, why am I procrastinating this? Why is it so easy to procrastinate?
No, I get that. It's so hard to like take breaks. Like, when I was working for another company, I would take like a vacation, like a 3-week vacation every year. And I haven't taken more than a 3-day vacation since I started my business. So it's like, it's tricky because, right, I said before, like, I have the freedom to like not have to ask for time off and everything, but I think COVID's definitely affected that whole dynamic. But I'm hoping by like 2023 I can take some like extensive international
get that 2 weeks you're talking about. To like give myself the reminder of like, wow, I've created this like business to be able to really do this for myself and like create this life that I've really wanted. So you're gonna get there. Yeah, thanks.
You're well on your way to getting there. Yeah,
you're there.
Yeah,
you're already there.
Yeah. Crushing the game, Erica. I think definitely giving yourself a pat on the back, I think, is well deserved. Like I said, I've looked up to you, your hustle, your grind. I think her cruise. I'm sorry. Yeah, she doesn't like hustle. Yeah, no hustle. The cruise and the grind.
The cruise mentality.
Yeah, that cruise and grind.
Like a hashtag cruise mentality.
We're going to include the hashtag in this episode. I like it. Hashtag cruise and grind, cruise, whatever the case may be. But the fact remains is, I don't want to say it's a Batstone thing so much because I feel like that's putting our family.
I don't know. The Batstones go hard, and like
we do go hard.
Maybe step up my game and shit.
They do go hard. Like my mom goes hard. She's an entrepreneur, and she's like, man, she works it up there in the north, in like the New Hampshire area, like with handling snow, and she's a powerhouse woman. So yeah, I think
she is.
She is in our family.
And shout out to your brother Craig, of course. Love Craig. I'd love to have him on the podcast as well too. But he's a badass. He's been crushing the game for years as well. So, shout outs all around.
Yeah, he's always an inspiration. I feel like, he's just an awesome dude. And I always tell him, like, man, you make it so hard to like find a partner because you're this like, you just like have all these amazing traits about you. And like, he's so talented at all these different things. And he's just like a badass and like super, super cool. Like, I think my brother's just like one of the coolest people on the planet. So
I would agree with that. I love Craig. He's
I don't know if I met Craig.
No, you haven't met Craig.
So good.
But when we started this project, I was like, I wanted Craig's feedback a little bit on like what we were doing with like the logo and the intro music and stuff. Kind of like what I did with you as well. Like I sent you what we were doing because like I appreciate my family's feedback, right?
Yeah.
And I don't, I think Craig's kind of removed himself a little bit from the social media presence, so I didn't have a direct way to reach out to him. But I would like to get in contact with him because I love what he does. I love his attitude. He's fantastic.
Yeah, no, he has a lot of knowledge. He knows a lot of things, and so I think he could be a good guest just to like talk about. Yeah, he's got a lot of ideas. He likes to build things and solve problems, and I'm sure he could talk about how he like has been working on this 1990 Supra, Toyota Supra. He's been trying to like.
Oh, that's nice.
He loves his Supras. I do remember he loves his Supras for sure.
He's and being a cool dad. He's such a good dad. Like he's just like Probably one of the coolest, just cool people I know. So yeah, I'm happy to connect you guys if you want.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. It'd be
Yeah.
great to get in connection with Craig again. But the
Yeah.
focus tonight was on you, Erica. You're a badass. Don't cut yourself short. You're doing epic
A
things.
badass Batstone.
Badass.
Let's go Batstones. Come on, you want to swing that?
Hey,
My old boss, John Finley, I'll tell you this, Erica, and we'll keep this on the air because this is a great story. My old boss, John Finley, at my last company, I love John Finley. He was amazing. He coined a phrase. He goes, "That'll drive you Batstone crazy."
No,
and that always stuck with me. Yeah.
No way. Did he know? He knew your last name?
Oh yeah. 100%.
Okay, cool.
And he would always use that phrase, like with some of his other reps and other things he was doing. He's like, "That'll drive you Batstone crazy."
Oh my
like
gosh,
that became a coined phrase.
I'm probably gonna use that. That is so good. I never heard of that. Cool. Okay.
Yep. That's fun stuff for
I'm
sure.
gonna borrow that. That's cool.
I mean,
Awesome.
that's awesome. So look, you're doing some real things. You're helping, you're building relationships with built relationships. You're putting it out on the line. I mean, that's, you think about all that. And for all the listeners out there, if you're taking anything, this is the weekly challenge. All right, let's do something within the next week that you normally wouldn't do, that you've been thinking about, like that. Like if you're putting off emails, you can send that email really quick and you can get it done, but you just been putting it off, like something like that you can get this handled, and you know that you could do something, and you don't know what will come from that, but like you're getting that drive, that urge. Just do it. Just stop thinking about it. The 5-second rule. Have you heard about the 5-second rule?
Like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like Mel Robinson thing?
Like basically, like it's time to go. Like you think about it.
Yeah.
You think about it, you do it within 5 seconds, you start it within 5 seconds, or else your mind will try to get you to not do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I usually count down like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and like that.
I've heard that one.
Helps. Yep. The 5-second.
So apply the 5-second rule, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on that thing that you know you can get done this week. That's the challenge. You know,
do it.
Let's reach out and try to like.
Yeah.
And hey, like you said, because I'm always on this positive, like optimistic mentality, and I think it's so great when I have somebody that comes in and is like, but it's important to fail. Like it's okay if you fail too, and I totally agree with that. Like I fail every single day, but I laugh about it because every failure is not a failure in my mind. It's a learning moment. So like just how you switched your mentality on a hustle to cruise. Like, maybe you're looking at something, and to the listeners, maybe you're looking at something where it's like, maybe your perspective needs to shift a little bit on that to like really capitalize and utilize your strengths. Like, because if you just change your perspective on something, then that changes the whole outlook. And so I feel like that's really important to mention and to challenge people on, because I know everybody out there is super capable.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, 100%. And I think as a business owner too, like what I've learned recently is like, I've found softwares, for instance, to help me like create more ease in my life. So like create more of that cruise mentality than like the hustle. So like for the first year and a half of my business, I was like using a certain platform to like organize all my documents and all my notes and everything. And then like, I knew of this one program that was built for planners that like would really create a really good experience for myself and my client and everything. But I was like afraid to like make this like financial investment, but I just did it like a few weeks ago and like have completely immersed myself in learning all the functions of it. And it has completely changed my game. And now it's like increased my confidence even like tenfold into what I'm doing and what I'm offering my clients. And so that helps me like feel more confident about what my pricing is and just like who I am and what I can offer. And so like, again, like finding like, what are those things? Like, don't like, I don't know, I guess what I've learned is, and I'm glad the way that I like approach this, like doing it the hard way and now doing it with more ease, but it's just like, I think you have to kind of learn those things on your own by just like doing them, but just like know that there's like things out there to help you, like whether it's a person or like a resource or a software, like you don't have to struggle as much as you're struggling. Like sometimes it's just worth to like put a little more extra money in to like create a really good experience for yourself to like to continue enjoying what you're doing and also make a good experience for whoever you're serving, that's just something I've recently learned.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the return on investment and things like that, little to big, whatever that investment is, if it's going to, better your business, better, whatever the case may be, I'm all about it. If there's a tool, a resource out there that I don't know about, I'm willing to dive in, and apply that to what I do. So I think that's good advice for sure. And, one of the things we like to do here at Discussion Combustion, Erica, as you probably know, if you've seen some of our shows, we like to ask our guests, if you could provide one piece of advice that could better humanity tomorrow, what would that be?
Yeah, what would it be?
I think it just kind of connects to what I was saying before, is like really just take a moment, find some like space for yourself in a place that makes you feel really safe and comfortable, and just like really think about what you want and like figure out what brings your soul alive and then pursue that. Like, I think we need more people who are like pursuing what lights them up. You know what I mean? Like even though it might seem like a crazy idea or like really unattainable of like based on your situation or where you're at, just like really just pressing into that, because I really think if you can like have that silence and that peace of mind and like find yourself in a place where you can like really receive whatever that message is, we need more people in the world that will go after those kind of things. You know what I mean? Those callings. So
yes. And
solid.
I feel like that's beautiful advice to give to people. But the dark part about that truth to actually going for it is like, you're going to lose comfortable relationships that you've had in the past. Like, you're going to break the cycle, and you're going to lose people over that. People won't understand, why are you doing this? And that is the path that you walk alone. And it's, there's no feeling that will ever compare to like doing something like that. So yes, I completely agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah, no, you're right. And like, exactly, like those choices could have consequences in the sense, like you said, like of like maybe some relationships fizzle out, or you have to move forward and you have to, break some things down. But like, this is your journey. It's all about you in the end. Like, it's not, I've definitely struggled with people pleasing my entire life, and I'm still kind of working on that. And I think, the industry I'm in is a very people pleasing industry, so it's not helping me there. But I'm learning to create a lot of boundaries with this role that I'm in, which is really beneficial to me as a person and to my clients, But yeah, I think it's just like, just figure out what's important to you enough to like maybe sever some of those ties that aren't serving you. Like, and I think it's hard, especially when it comes to relationships. I mean, I definitely have had friendships where I'm like, we're just growing, like, I love you, but like, we're not good for each other as a friend anymore. Like, it's just not, we're not building each other up. Like, so it's a hard decision, and it takes a lot of courage to go through that. But I think in the end, it's what needs to happen, Yeah, I know it's easier said than done. It's just
that's great advice. But that's heavy advice too. Like, and that's the thing, is like some of the most realist things that are actually going to impact your life and make you a different person and a better person. Like, that doesn't just fall on your lap. Like, you have to sacrifice like time or feeling uncomfortable or whatever it is. Like coming over some of my bad habits. Like, there's days where I feel uncomfortable in my skin, and like, sometimes that's just how it is. And like, you just have to realize that, like, find your journey, and then be unapologetically on your journey. And like, within that it's like this freedom of creativity, this freedom of like
expression.
And it's like, there's a beauty in there that, like, if you're not doing that for yourself, and like your life's cruising by and you're not doing that, then you're selling yourself short. Like, you're not really living. You're not really living.
Exactly. 100%. I mean, snaps all around. Like, yeah, for sure.
Snaps.
Snaps,
What is the snaps? Is that like clapping?
It's like, have you ever been to like a slam poetry reading? It's like how they clap.
Okay.
So true.
But no, I 100% agree. I mean, I think especially as we get older, you just realize like how short, like how valuable time is and how short life is. Like, there's no guarantee how many years we have here, and so I'm just really grateful that I've, the way that I've lived my life and the struggles I've overcome. Like, I'm just at a point where I'm like, all right, I'm going to try this business thing. and like it's working out really well. Like it could not. I mean, I don't know, but I didn't know it was going to happen. Like I had no expectation, but to me, it's just like I feel like very strong in my path, and like this is what I'm meant to do. And it might not be forever. Like I might not be a planner till I'm 65. Like I might change careers. I mean, I have a lot of other interests. I used to be an outdoor recreation guide and work with kids a lot and all that kind of stuff. So I have that other side of me. But for me right now, I'm just like, yep, this is it. This feels really good. I feel really valuable to the people in my life and the clients I work with. And I have a lot of knowledge to share. So like, yep, this is it. So yeah, it's just like finding that thing. And also knowing like it's never too late. Like, I mean, have you guys seen those memes where it's just like, I mean, I can't think of the numbers, but like, like some famous author or somebody like famous that's like, oh yeah, at 65, they created this thing we knew them for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's never too late to like find that purpose or like that bigger thing that like really connects to you, So I don't know. I just like want people to be encouraged to like think outside the box a little more,
I think that's great advice for sure. I mean, it's like you said, it's never too late to start. It really isn't. Regardless of your age, education level, it doesn't matter. You could wake up tomorrow and go own it at any moment. And that's, I love the hashtag own it statement because we got to own it, Erica. You've been owning it for years. You're crushing the game and it's extremely inspirational, to just go out there and do. Yeah, absolutely. Go out there and just do what fills your soul, what feels good for you, like what gives you a sense of fulfillment and joy when you wake up and go to bed every night. I think that's the ultimate goal in life, right? I mean, people have asked me, well, what's your ultimate goal in life? Well, happiness, right? But how do we get to happiness? Well, it's fulfillment and joy. And that's different for everybody, but I like how you worded it. I mean, it's never too late to really dissect what it is that can make a difference, in your life and do things that bring you a sense of fulfillment and joy. And again, that's different for everybody. That could be being a checker at the Circle K, or it could be being a podcaster. It could be being the owner of Rising Fern Events. Who knows?
Epic.
That's up to everybody's discretion.
And the meaning of that business name is
epic.
Come on.
I appreciate that.
You got like the whole like, heritage of New Zealand. I've always wanted to go there. I'm very jealous, but I'm not going to get into that too much.
You should go.
But I'm just so, look, I feel blessed because I got to know Kevin and Kevin's helped bring me to new places, This podcast, it was his idea, right? I adopted it. It's our baby. That's how I've always talked about this. And I'm so happy to be raising it with him. It's bigger than us. We're the vessels. But not only that, but it creates this place of connection and this platform of honesty and like overcoming adversity. Like I feel like that's what it's all about. Like every day, like there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be adversity. Like how are you going to handle that? Like because it's there. It's always going to be there. Like I expect look, I'm almost 35. Like I just always expect there to be a problem. Like I expect the next problem after I solve that problem. But like it's the hustle to cruise mentality. It's changing your perspective on problems and like just looking at it like a daily challenge. And I just feel so fortunate and blessed. Like it's amazing to talk to people that are doing awesome things like you are, and you're putting and what you do is you make the special day even better for people. Like and that is fulfilling and that's important. Like it's important to connect people and. I'm gonna get emotional talking about this kind of stuff. So it's just great. It's just thank you. But no, it's important because these are the real questions. Like I feel like we're talking about real things that are often just swept underneath the rug. Like how often are you spending time with yourself off the phone? Like how often are you actually spending time with yourself thinking about what is going to make you happy? What makes you feel fulfilled? What makes you feel like you can keep going? And that's, it's just so important because I feel like in today's society with all the distractions and everything, like we are distracted as a society. And if we can dial it in and really think about our happiness and well-being, then just imagine how you're going to affect other people's lives because the work you do, it's affected hundreds of people's lives, like all the guests, thousands of people's lives, like your coordinate, like, and that trickles down and everybody leaves this wedding and they had such a great time and they talk about it, and then everybody's feeling, and it's like when you're a part of something, you're helping orchestrate something like that, where like you're improving quality of life for yourself and others. It's like a selfless place that's important to be, and everybody has the capability to find self-happiness, and you will improve other people's lives around you
100%.
if you're happy. 100%.
When you're in that lane and in your path, and like, yeah, you're gonna like exude this light and this like positivity and this, and you know, inspiration to others, because you're like in your place, you know. And that's why I'm saying, like, even though it's super uncomfortable to like go off by yourself, and I mean, I'm not, you know, maybe some people don't have that a luxury of doing that, I totally understand, but like just trying to work that out, like even if you have like 4 kids, you know, like finding someone to like take care of the kids for a weekend. Like, I think it's just like you said, we're so distracted by the social media inputs and like TV and shows, alt movies, everything, that like it's meant, like all these things are meant to just like kind of like keep us in this like hypnosis. It's so important to like take yourself out of that, really sit with yourself. It's going to feel weird for like the first several hours to just sit with yourself, put your phone away, but like really listen to yourself. Like it's tough, and like you might not get a lot of like feedback initially, but I think it's just like so important to have that silence and that peace to like bring about your true desires to like what you might want to pursue, you know. And it just needs to be, it can be small steps, very small steps, closer and closer to where you want to be. So yeah,
can we get some clicks for that?
Some snap.
Some snaps for that.
Snapping, we're snapping today.
For real.
But yeah, I don't know. I just want people to be like happy and content, and I think, you know, what I do, I just feel so honored to do what I do. I don't take it for granted, and like there's so much expectation with what I do, because people really look to me to be the expert, to be the person to make everything perfect. And sometimes I can't control everything because I'm just one person and I'm not God. But it also is like the most rewarding moment when not only the couple and the parents are coming up to me at the end of the night saying how amazing it was, but also guests will just like pull me aside and be like, this was the best wedding I've ever been to. And like that to me, I'm just like, yep, let's do the next one. Like I can keep going for years. Like this is the best. You know what I mean? Like let's keep it. Yeah, like keep it going. Like, whoo, it's just like, it gives me the chills, because I feel like I just feel
you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, like it just feels so good when you can align yourself with that path of what you need to be doing for yourself and the greater good of people. Like that's it. Like, did I think I was going to be a wedding planner when I was 5? Like, no, maybe not. I mean, I did. I think I journaled a little bit about it, but when people ask, like when I was a kid, like I think I did have a journal entry that was like, what do I want to be when I grow up? And the first thing was a background dancer for Janet Jackson. And then I believe there was also event planner in there. So one of them worked out.
Hey, dream big. You've been crushing it, Erica. Absolutely crushing the fucking game, to put it lightly. You know, you're a huge inspiration. You really are. I mean, you're just killing it. And I'm so happy for you. I love to hear, you know, about your business and the growth that you've had with it, and the you know, joy and fulfillment that you're receiving from it. Tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. And you know, we'll do it again. We'd love to get you in Denver in studio, you know, to have you on the show.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, they have Allegiant flights from like Asheville to Denver for like less than $100, I think.
Well, come on. Come stay with my girlfriend.
Can you like pick me up? Like, I don't know. I think they're pretty early. The times are weird, but
I'll come pick you up. You can stay with Brandy and me. It'd be a lot of fun. Cool. Yeah, come on out. And I really want to get down to Asheville too, because you know, I've been kind of missing the East Coast a little bit. You know, I'd like to get back, see what's going on down there. North Carolina, I'm a big NASCAR guy. That's NASCAR country. I'd fit in real well down there. So, you know, Kevin and Arthur, you gotta both come. I'll show you like a super epic weekend. Like I'll plan it all out. Yes.
I need that weekend.
Let's go, man. I've got it. I already have like the things.
We're gonna commit to it.
Oh, she's a planner, bro. She's already planned it out.
She's a planner.
I got the connections. Let's go.
Okay.
I'm in, and I'll commit to it. I say we do it in 2022. We take a trip down,
bro. I'm with it. I'm a yes man right now.
Cheap flight.
Hey, look, we're gonna pound this.
Let's go.
We're gonna pound this with you.
Come in
Yes.
August would be perfect.
Let's go.
If you can do
We're
that.
going to set it up.
August. Okay.
Mark our
August.
words, listeners. August 2022. We're going to Asheville. We're going to hang out with Erica Batstone.
We should like, we'll
August.
have
We're
like
doing it in August.
yes, we'll have like a live podcast there, like a video of like what we're doing.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do it. I am so in. Sign us up.
Let's do
Fantastic.
it. Okay.
Just whacked our sign here.
Getting wild,
So
wild and crazy.
yeah, we get wild here, Erica, at times.
Watch
But
out.
before we, before we shut it down, because this could go for hours and hours.
Yeah.
I want to make sure
We're
you
gonna
get
keep
out
chatting.
all of your plugs, website, whatever you want for the listeners, and we'll include all of that in the show notes down below. Listeners know, look down below on YouTube, you'll find everything you need. But Erica, where do people go to find you?
You can go to risingfernevents.com. You can go on Instagram at Rising Fern Events, Facebook Rising Fern Events. I mean, it's all Rising Fern Events. All
Just
day,
search
every
Rising
day.
Fern online. It's going to
Rising
be there.
Fern Events, you'll find it.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. So if like anyone out there like just wants a little bit of like a hype person or like a cheerleader, like has like something they want to need a little accountability for, like I'm totally willing to do that too. So yeah.
Okay.
You can DM me on Instagram. I just like supporting people and their goals. So
Well, you had people
yeah.
supporting you on the couch surfing, Miss Cruz. So that's awesome. Listeners, we love you guys. We're gonna keep bringing awesome content to you and amazing people. We love everybody out there.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk a little bit more with Erica off air, of course. I appreciate, Erica, you taking time to sit down with us on Discussion Combustion podcast. Our listeners are going to love you. So fun. And it's just great to see you. And I appreciate taking some time to sit down, share your opinions, your views, your goals. It's just been a fantastic evening, I feel like.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Oh, you guys are so awesome. Kevin, Arthur, thank you so much for having me. All the viewers, you got this. I have faith in you. Let's get it. Do one thing that makes you uncomfortable this week. You got it.
Yes.
Yes. Great advice. Let's wrap it up. Listeners, you already know, be good to yourselves. You deserve it. We love you. Erica, much love to my cousin. We're going to see you in August down in Asheville and maybe in Denver here at some point.
I'm looking forward to that.
That's going to be fun, man. We'll see you next week. We got celebrity chef Declan Horgan joining us. You've seen him on Hell's Kitchen. You've seen him on Guy Fieri's Grocery Games. You've seen him. He's with us next week. We'll see you then. Erica Batstone, we love you.
We're out. Woo! Thank you.